Good evening and welcome, Jane, to DeFiChain Demystified, where we dive deeper in special topics around our project. The goal is to bring some answers to some tricky questions and maybe bust some myths. We are
Kügi,
and Lord Mark, and today's topic is...
what changes with the forthcoming epilogue upgrade?
That sounds familiar. It looks like we've done that before already.
It was so much fun. Let's do that again, right?
Do it again. Okay, as a matter of fact, we really did this episode again. I think it was 2 days ago. No, it was yesterday, right?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. And what happened, Kügi?
It feels like it was yesterday. As we always say, this is a story full of misunderstandings, and this time it was a story full of misunderstandings everywhere, including my side. So there was a small error or misunderstanding on a detail, and so we thought, before we have any confusion, let's do this again. Let's do a full correct version, so that everything is clear and everybody knows what's going on.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. So we jump right in and try to do it this time without misunderstandings. Good, Kügi. Before we start in, we have actually 3 topics, right?
Yes. Now, before we start, another thing, we found this error thanks to comments from the community. So thanks to everyone who is actually listening and thinking for themselves.
Especially not only listening, but thinking, right? Yeah. That's important.
And also tells us if something feels off or is wrong or something, because then everybody can make mistakes. And don't trust, verify, as we always say. So thanks for that. And we have basically, as we had before, 3 big parts. On the one hand, this payback bug. That's the reason for the main reason for the update, and then the change in the 50% rule, which is this now improved the explanation, and then the thing that the DUSD will be more worth in the collateral, so the increased collateral factor of the DUSD, and what that means, and also what that means in reality for some. For the loopholes and stuff like that.
Okay, fantastic.
So we talk about that.
3 topics. Okay, good, Kügi. Then let's
jump right in.
Let's
do that again. This first topic, the payback bug. So the reason why we need this, really need this update, is we introduced with the last update the negative interest rates. And now we could have this situation where we have a collateral, we have 100 DUSD loan, and we have accumulated -1 DUSD interest. In general, if we do any action on the chain or on this vault, the negative interest will will reduce the loan. It's not done every block or something. Every block the interest rate, the interest accumulates. But whenever you do something, withdraw something from the vault, add collateral, take a loan or pay back loan, then the loan is reduced by the negative interest. In a positive interest, the interest is only reduced when you pay back something. In the negative interest case, it's always calculated with the original loan amount whenever you do anything. So in theory, when you pay back 10 DUSD for this loan now, it should be that you pay back 10 DUSD, 1 DUSD is taken from the interest, so overall the loan is reduced by 11 DUSD.
Okay.
That's how it should be, and actually that's how it is. But the bug is that what should happen is that it takes 10 DUSD out of your address, and it takes the -1 from the interest, so out of thin air basically. And what happens due to the bug is that in this case, it takes 11 DUSD out of the address. So it's not only taking the 10 DUSD that you want to send in, but 11 DUSD, which is the amount that the loan is reduced. Which means the negative interest is not coming out of thin air. It's not just incentivized to you, but you actually pay for it. It's still better than paying the 5% interest rate. So in the end, it's like you pay no interest at all. You don't pay interest, or you don't get interest. So that's basically the bug. And that also means why it's a payback bug on the payback itself. It's not only that you lose the interest, but if you try to pay back the loan with everything you have in your wallet. So if you have only 10 USD in your address and you try to pay back now the 10 USD into the loan, the chain tries to take 11 USD out of your address and fails because you don't have 11 USD in the address. So your payback fails and you can't pay back. You could pay back in this case when you try to pay back only 9 USD, because then he tries to take out 10 USD out of your address and you have 10 USD in the address, so then it works. So you can work around that, but then you still lose the interest. The way how to work around this bug that you don't lose the interest is to use this, that this happens on any action. So you just take a small 1 USD or whatever, or even less loan. So first take an additional loan. This makes zeros your interest and reduces your loan amount, and afterwards pay back what you want to pay back, because then the remaining interest is just a few blocks of interest. So it's 0.00 something cent, and you lose that interest, but you got the interest before, so then you don't lose anything. On Wednesday, everything is fine.
Yeah. Okay. So just if somebody wants to kind of observe that and really see what happens, you can really check that over time with every block your negative interest accumulates. Let's say it's -$1, -$2, in a couple of minutes, -$5, whatever, depending on the size of your loan. And when you then borrow
if you have $5 interest in a couple of minutes,
then you have a big loan, right? Then you have a big loan, exactly. Then you know you're one of the big fish out there. So you see the negative interest gets larger. So the negative number gets bigger. And then when you borrow a little bit more, then it gets kind of reset. So there you really see that this workaround works very, very well.
There is one important thing, good that you mentioned that, because in the wallet, you see your loan amount.
Yep.
And what you see as a loan amount there is not this loan amount, but this is already the sum of loan amount plus interest. So in this case, the wallet wouldn't show me 100 DUSD loan and -1 DUSD interest. It would show me 99 DUSD loan amount and -1 DUSD interest. Because people are sometimes confused when they take a loan and the loan amount doesn't change, but the interest goes to 0. And that's because in this shown loan amount, the interest is already reduced. So you see what you're actually owing to the vault, and this is already minus the interest. So don't get confused that the interest goes to 0, but the loan amount stays the same because it was already reduced. It just, if you watch that, as you mentioned, if you watch that, the negative interest will accumulate and the loan amount will go down every block. Just a shown loan amount, and that's internally it's the loan amount minus plus the interest, and plus
exactly.
Negative interest.
Cool, good. So a problem that's hopefully solved on Wednesday, but that everybody knows what we've been talking about and what this payback bug was. Okay, first topic, check.
Done.
Good. Second topic.
Next topic.
That was the tricky one. That was the one where we kind of failed explaining it. Or
not me.
Nah, come on, we're a team here. Good. So
yeah.
now this time the
okay,
right
let's
version.
share the blame. I'm fine.
Yeah, and really point out, because I think that's the tricky one. It's really not so easy to spot. Explain where was the thought error when we explained it last time.
It will be easy to spot.
Okay,
it
cool.
will be easy to spot. Don't worry. I made sure of that. So if you watched this video before, now comes the part where you need to listen. The thing is, what we had before, before last time in the video, we had only left case, then the right case. Now I add that at once because this whole thing about 50% of the collateral, it only applies in two cases. It applies in the withdrawal case and it applies in the take loan case. So if you take anything out of the vault, so to speak, if you take collateral out or if you take a loan out. And I usually first thought that it's the same in both cases. So the same idea in both cases or the same conditions in both cases. Because, where did this misunderstanding come from? When we talked about it and discussed what would be the best option here, we had multiple ideas in that direction. And the thing that I understood or how I thought it worked was one in a step in between, and it's really a small detail. But yeah, it's a difference. So in the withdrawing case, it's still the same as we had it before. You have basically these two differences, and the difference is if you have only D-token loans, so no DUSD loan, or if you have a DUSD loan. If you have no DUSD loan and you want to withdraw something, you just need to make sure that 50% of your remaining required collateral is DFI plus DUSD. So both count to the 50%. If you have DUSD loans existing in your vault and you want to withdraw something, it's only allowed to withdraw as long as after the withdrawal, 50% of the required collateral are DFI. So here, if the DUSD is existing on the loans, the DUSD kind of move to the right side of the collaterals. And one thing that's important to know here, and it's always been like that, but I think not many people are aware of that. So just to make this clear, it's about the 50% of the required collateral. So it's not about the total collateral. It's depending on your loan size. And in numbers, it's always a bit easier to understand. If you say we have $100 in loans, not only the USD, all the loans in the world are $100 the USD value. And we have a 150% loan scheme. That means you need at least $150 of collateral so you don't get liquidated. So $150 is your required collateral value. And from $150 required collateral value, 50% of that is $75, yeah. So you need $75 of DFI in this case for $100 loan. This means if you have only $100 loans, if you have in your collateral 100 DFI or $100 DFI and 10,000 DUSD, and you take only a $100 loan, you can take a DUSD loan. It doesn't matter because you have enough DFI to have the collateral, to have 50% of the required collateral. Even though the vault itself is like 1% DFI, 99% DUSD. It's just because you take such a low loan. And that's important. That's not a problem in the stuff. It's just that the required collateral. And why we have that? Because we explained it in the last video, so let's explain it in this video again.
Yeah, that's good.
Why we changed that back in the days, because in the original, when the loan started or the vault started, it was that the 50% of the whole collateral needed to be DFI. But the problem is that if you have that and you don't use all your collateral, you usually use only half of your collateral basically, because you are at 300% collateral ratio, just to be safe. And now we have 50% DFIs, 50% BTC in your collateral. And now BTC increases in value. And you say, okay, that's good. I want to take a bit of this BTC out and swap it to DFI, for example, because I got more BTC. BTC is more worth, so I swapped that. You wouldn't be able to do that in the old calculation with whole collateral, because you would not have the 50% DFI. You would have needed to take out so many BTC that afterwards you have 50% DFI in the whole collateral. And we didn't want that, because that basically locks up your collateral unnecessarily, because it blocks you from acting on the vault. So it got changed to say, okay, only the required collateral needs to be 50% DFI, so that you can work on your additional collateral, on your buffer collateral. You are free to use whatever you want, and you are free to work around with it and play with it. That's why it's the required collateral, not the full collateral. And this is the new logic for the withdrawal case. And now let's go to the case that actually changed, and that's with the loans. And now you see we are on the lower side, and here this stuff's changed. Now we have fancy graphics today with gradients.
Yeah, you have a color gradient. Very nice.
Yeah, color gradient.
Weekend special.
Yeah, a weekend special, exactly. Because now it doesn't matter what you have in your loans. Before I thought it matters what you take out, and so I thought it's the same case as with the withdrawal. But in reality, it's not the same case. It doesn't matter what you have in the loan. It just matters what you take now. So if you now take a new loan, it only matters what asset do you take for the loan to define the collateral ratio, or the collateral 50%. So if you take off any D token, any non-DUSD, it must be DFI plus DUSD in the first 50%, so both count.
If you take out, it could be also only DFI. It would be also possible, right?
Yeah, it must be 50% DFI plus and or DUSD. So the only thing is that both count for the 50%. So both count. You could have no DUSD in there. You could have a vault with only DFI in the full thing. In this case, you can also have a vault with only DUSD in the full thing. Same thing. It's just 50% or DFI plus DUSD of your collateral, of your required collateral, needs to be 50%. But if you take out DUSD, for this case and only for this action in this case, only DFI counts for the 50%. So you could have the case that you say, okay, I take DUSD loans so much as far that I have 50%, my 50% DFI used. So for example, if I say I have $75 DFI in the collateral, I can take 100 DUSD loan. And if I have far more DUSD in the vault, I can afterwards take additional D token loans. I can take no longer any DUSD loan, and I will not be able to withdraw afterwards if I take a lot of D token loans. That needs to be, you need to keep that in mind, because when we go back to the withdrawal, if I say I take a lot of I take DUSD loans and then add the D token loans, because I say I'm in this case for the DUSD, and the DUSD count for my collateral for the D token loans, that's fine. You can take the D token loans, but you will not be able to withdraw anything, because for the withdrawal you need to be in this case. So you can't then withdraw stuff from the vault if you have both, because that's the second case. Just keep that in mind. It's just you can't take the loans.
What we see very nicely here anyway, so the blue box, the DUSD box on top, up, yeah, exactly. So if you go into creating a DUSD loan or extending a DUSD loan, you see very nicely how the DUSD box moves to the right side, right? So this is this action, what counts now, because we always said left side, right side, right? For D token, DUSD DFI is left, but if it's a DUSD loan, the left side should be DFI, at least for the required collateral. Yeah, that's the.
And the thing is, you can, so for the taking the loans, it's kind of floating between those two cases, depending on what token you take. Just keep in mind, if you take additional D token loans and let the DUSD count and have both in there, if you want to withdraw, you need the 50% DFI in there. So you can't withdraw with just DUSD.
Okay, so that means the vault in some way switches the logic behind, really checks, okay, what kind of loan do you want to take? Then he arranges the token left and right. And this is accordingly to the loan. So it's not kind of frozen into one system. It's really fluid. Like I said, it switches between these two things. Okay, got it.
When taking a loan, it depends on the action, not on the state of the vault. And for the withdrawal, it depends on the state of the vault.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that's what we got.
A bit of a. It makes it a bit more complicated, but it gives a bit more flexibility to the user, so you can do more with it than in the other case. But be aware regarding this withdrawal stuff. Otherwise, you might get confused. But then again, there you have the other case. Because what this enforces the 50% DFI. So we have more DFI in the collateral for the USD loans. But it also is a problem, or could be a problem, for people who have this looped vaults and everything. So if you have DUSD in the loan and DUSD in the collateral, as I said, you can't withdraw anything after the update directly. But if you don't have DUSD in your address to pay back the DUSD loan, and you only have DUSD in the collateral, that's a problem if you can't withdraw the DUSD.
Okay. Kugi, short stop. Explain, maybe there might be somebody out there who doesn't understand what is a looped vault.
Okay. The looped vault is basically this liquidity sponges that we had before, that we described in the previous video, where you say you take DUSD loan, you put the DUSD loan back in the collateral, and then you have more collateral and can take more loan, put it back, and loop it and have a leveraged DUSD vault, which means you have a lot of DUSD in the collateral, you have a lot of DUSD loans, and it's just a locked system. And now with this new logic where we say, okay, in the withdrawal case, we would be in this case, kinda. But if you don't have DFI in this case and only DUSD here, DUSD here, you can't withdraw anything because you don't fulfill this 50% DFI rule. If you can't pay back the DUSD because you don't have additional DUSD, you're kind of stuck in this vault and you don't get out of this vault. That's why we added this payback with collateral functionality, or called the unloop button, how some people call it, which basically is an instant take your collateral and pay back the loan within one action. So internally, it takes all your DUSD from the collateral and pay back your DUSD loans. If you have more DUSD in the collateral than you have loans, then all the loans are paid back and the remaining DUSD stay in the collateral. If you have more loans open than collateral, then all of the DUSD from the collateral is used and you keep some loans. But after this action, after this unloop, one of the two sides has no DUSD left because it kind of evens them out or it cancels them both out. And that means with this button, either you move to this case where you have DUSD here and they count for the 50%, so you can withdraw again and nothing is here, or you are anyway in this case and you always had enough DFI in the collateral and the DUSD is gone from the collateral and there are some DUSD loans left, but you have 50% now because otherwise the whole thing wouldn't have worked and your DUSD in the collateral are worth more than the DUSD in the loan. The DUSD loan take up more collateral than it's worth. So directly. So in the end, you unlock your vault basically, and you can withdraw again. So that's important to know. You don't get locked in. You can always use the payback with collateral button, but with the payback with collateral, then it's canceled out, and either the collateral is gone or the loan is gone.
And it's a one-time action only. It's very important. So this activity can be done only. It's all or nothing, right? You press the button, it unwinds in some way the whole DUSD loans, and then we end up.
No.
Yes and no. Okay. When no?
No. I mean, it does it all in once. So you can't say I take only half of it, but it's not a one-time action, meaning you can only do it once. Because I could say, if I come into this position that I say, okay, I have DUSD in my collateral, I have DUSD in my loan, and I now use this button. DUSD collateral is gone, loans or DUSD loan is gone, collateral is still there. I can now take DUSD loans again and put them into the collateral, take D token loans. I could come into the situation again, or in the position again, where I say I have DUSD in my collateral, I have DUSD in my loan. You can get into this position because you can build a vault like that. And even if you build a vault like that up to the limit, and then take more and put it all into the DUSD, and then take D token loans, because as we said, you can take additional D token loans, even with both in the collateral and with both in the loans. And now you're in the situation where you say, okay, I have DUSD in the collateral and DUSD in the loan again. You can still again use that. So it's not a one time, you press it one and then you can never do it for the vault. You can do it as often as you want. It just, with this one click, your DUSD from one side are gone afterwards and calculated against the other side. But you can do it multiple times if you.
Where correct me if I'm wrong. So where it's only really a one-time action is for these vaults that have been created with 100% DUSD collateral, and where the people kind of looped the DUSD. They most likely can then only, if they don't add any DFI, nothing is happening anymore, right? So this is for them, it's really a one-time action. It unwinds
for them,
everything.
You can't get into the position of a leveraged DUSD vault
anymore.
Again. Because you can get into the position, into such a position where you have DFI in there and you have DUSD in the collateral and DUSD in the loan. That's possible, but it's not possible to come into a position again where you have only DUSD in the collateral and in the vault and in the loan.
Exactly.
But you can, if you add DFI, take more DUSD loans, and then you might want this payback with collateral button again, which is kind of handy.
Cool.
Exactly. So this is the payback with collateral and the 50% rule. And the last thing we want to talk about, number 3 exactly, is this DUSD is worth 1.2. And there I want to just give some insights about this, what's a good strategy or something to keep in mind regarding the strategy. Because we do this increasing the collateral value to increase the incentive or the utility of DUSD, so that DUSD in volts in collaterals is used more often. It also means that we want you to get rewards and to incentivize that thing. Before, or right now, say it this way, so before the hard fork, such a looped vault as we have it right now is quite good regarding the rewards, because even on the hard fork, I assume, based on the current numbers, I assume the payout to be like around minus 21%. We still have the 5% base interest, so we will have around minus 16% netto payout. It was far more before. Maybe it will increase again if we see DUSD loans and decreasing, but we will see. So that's what we have here. On the other hand, after the update, we have DUSD, and this DUSD is worth $1.2 in the collateral. This DUSD here in the loop vault will also be worth $1.2, but you can't take new DUSD loans, as we said before. So this incentive on this side can't increase because of this. It's just here that you can really make use of this incentive or of this 1.2 factor. And you can do this with a DUSD vault and the delta neutral strategy, where you say, okay, I have my DUSD in the collateral. I take some DUSD out of the collateral, because I can't mint, I can't take DUSD loans, but I can take DUSD out of the collateral. It makes even more sense in this case. I also take loans up to, let's say, 180%. You will see soon why 180%, where I pay 5% interest. With this 1.2, we can take more D-token loans. And with that, if you calculate it through, it's possible, or you come to a calculation of your original DUSD that you put into the collateral and the liquidity mining times 0.8. So 80% of your original funds is roughly, or is exactly the amount of liquidity you put into the liquidity mining of the D token. And depending on the DFI price, we have around 40% APR right now on this liquidity mining pairs. And the rewards then are like this. Here you have the 16%, and with this looped DUSD vaults, if you do it to the limit, you are roughly at 1.9x. So 16% times 1.9 is 30% in DUSD yield that you get on your original DUSD funds. On this side, if you take the 0.8 times 40% minus the 5% interest that I pay here on half of the size, so 0.4, I also get 30%, but this time in DFI. Even if I play it a bit safe and go to a 200% ratio, I still get 28% in DFI. And with the 180%, since this is DUSD and the Oracle price is fixed, so it's not volatile, a D token, if I do this on a not so volatile D token like a QQQ or a SPY or something, I get into trouble if the SPY rises by 20%. Current market situation, let's see if we see SPY rising 20%, and if you monitor, it would be nice, yes, but if you monitor your vault daily or multiple times a day, there is a really low risk of this rising sharply, and you can always take the D token out of the liquidity mining and put it back. So this is, because I saw that in the comments of the previous video, that this is a risky strategy because you're short the D token. You are not short the D token. You mint it and you don't sell it. You just put it into the liquidity mining. So you still own this D token. And we made a demystified video about the impermanent loss on coins and on value. And here you have this on coins case. So if this is a D token that doesn't move too much, you have a really low impermanent loss, and you still own the D tokens. You can anytime take the D token out of the liquidity mining and pay back the loan. So you are so you owe it here, but you own it here, so it cancels itself out. So that's why it's called a delta neutral strategy in the liquidity mining.
Absolutely. I like these delta neutral strategies because it gives you a lot of flexibility. Because you can also quite easily switch between pools because you still own the asset, and it maybe shifts a little bit left and right, but you can easily pay it back. You don't have to, so you don't short the asset. I'm a big fan of that personally, of that strategy. I really like
But you're still not using Volt Maxi. What's happening? Yeah, maybe some word to that regarding the 180.
Yeah,
as I said, if you
very good point.
Yeah, if you manage it yourself, so if you do it manually, I think it would make more sense to keep it at 200 just to stay safe. I mean, if you anyway look at your Volt multiple times a day, 180 is fine, but otherwise 200. But if you use, for example, Volt Maxi, in Volt Maxi we have the single mint strategy, which does exactly that. So it doesn't take both, as we had it before. That was the version 1, where you minted both D token and DUSD. And the single mint is it takes one asset from the collateral and mints only the other one. That's why it's single mint, and does exactly that. And there you could go to 160% because the bot automatically keeps the Volt at the ratio, and you are safe. And if you go to 160% here, you are already above the looped Volt strategy with your yield. And if DFI increases in the price, then this goes up, because then the liquidity mining rewards go up if the DFI price goes up, and you have additional upside. So you also, if the DFI price goes down, you have less rewards here. So it's both ways. But just to keep that in mind, yes, right now a looped Volt is a perfect strategy and probably the best thing you can do with your DUSD, unless maybe the liquid and the stablecoin pools, depending on if you have other stablecoins still at hand. But if you have only DUSD, this is the perfect strategy right now. But after the update, it's highly likely that this strategy will bring more rewards. And also this brings you the rewards in DFI. So if you fear the stabilization fee, here you need to sell your DUSD rewards afterwards, because you get the rewards in DUSD, the incentive.
Or you reinvest, yeah.
If you reinvest, yeah, of course, that's always. But if you are someone who said, I'm locked in the DUSD
system,
in the system, I can't get out and I want to get out, maybe better use this strategy, because then you get out via the rewards already. I mean, I assume that the DEX fee will go down over the next weeks strongly, and everything will be fine. But anyway, keep in mind, here you get DFI, here you get DUSD. So just to keep that in mind, after the update, this strategy might even be more profitable than this strategy.
I really like there are so many plays possible now. So we have the pure DUSD strategy, we have the DUSD and other collateral strategy, we have strategy completely without DUSD. So I think best strategy is always defined what assets you hold at the moment, and these assets give you the direction where you can go. There might be people who hold only DUSD, absolutely possible. I mean, for example, I have a mixed bag of everything, right? I have Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything. But yeah, it's super interesting.
And that's one good point. This strategy works also with other assets. It doesn't matter if you can add BTC here. Here you can't add BTC to the mix and mint more DUSD. Right now you can, but then you can't go to the limit of 150%. You have a volatile asset in there. So it gets super risky if you go to 150% here. Here you can add BTC, and with a bot that would be super easy, because then you can stay at 160%, although you have a volatile asset in there. No problem at all. So here you can add other collateral and get your rewards on that too. So that's also something to keep in mind. But we have more and more possibilities to put your funds to work and also help the system, because that's also something here. The only value that you provide to the system is that you took out the USD from the supply. And this is something that we need right now because we have too many USD circulating supply, but also something that's not much of an additional value. Here, you took out your USD from the supply a bit, but also you provide liquidity for the pair. And that's the most important thing for a DEX, to have a lot of liquidity in the pools. And here you are exactly the one who provides liquidity to the pool. So you help the system and you get rewards for that. So yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
Cool. Maybe one last thing. Kyugi talks many times about collateralization ratio and how high the collateralization ratio could be. But I think you always point out very, very clearly these are not like recommended values. It's always up to your personal risk appetite. But I think Kyugi really points out, better be safe than sorry. Don't go too crazy on the collateralization ratio, because getting liquidated is maybe the most expensive part of the play here. So yeah, just think what makes sense for you, what tools, what safety net you have in place, and then go for that, right? Even if 150 or 151 would be possible with a strategy, maybe if you look at the phone every 5 minutes, I don't know, there can always something happen. So just be careful.
That's maybe also something that you need to keep in mind, because I know of people who go on of 151% because they want to maximize rewards, even with bots. With bots is better, but I'm still like, I wouldn't want to do that, because there can always be some problem. And even if you think, I'm on my phone every time, I make an alarm in the night to wake up every hour, and then in the worst time, either you don't hear the alarm, or your phone dies, your internet dies, anything goes wrong, and you get liquidated. So if you don't calculate for any buffer, highly likely, if you do that long enough, you get liquidated. You get hit by the car.
Absolutely. And the worst in investment is that you get liquidated and that you get taken out of the game and that you have no chance to participate. Yeah. Better not taking all the risk and being safe. Yeah.
And you have there are great tools in the ecosystem. We have Dobby and stuff that you can use.
Yeah,
so you
and
can
Vault Maxi and Dobby and a lot of things that support you and help you, right?
Yeah.
Good. Kyugi, fantastic. So I think this time we got it right. If not, ladies and gentlemen out there, then please point out if we made a mistake. It's always possible. And I think the nice thing is really to show, I think Kyugi knows a lot about the system, but even Kyugi can get it wrong.
Everybody can get it wrong.
Everybody can get it wrong. Yeah, it's not, how can we say, don't trust us 100%, right? We try to do the best to show the right way or to show how it works. But yeah, it's always fantastic to learn from the community, from you guys out there, if something is maybe a little bit different. And that's very, very important. Don't take everything like we say it, take it with a grain of salt. There could always be a slight mistake.
And always find a way to test it. I mean, that's one thing we learned from the last
You said
update.
It the last time.
Testing is important, and we try to enforce now that this will always be possible for everyone on testnet. Like we said in the last video, try it out on testnet, check the cases, check what it is, because on testnet the hard fork already happened. Testnet is already on Fort Canning Epilogue. We already have the 1.2 activated on testnet. So you can go to testnet, create a vault there, anything. Just keep in mind, testnet is a completely separate system. So you have different pools there, you have different tokens there. You need to get DFI from the faucet, but it's free. Just go to on Reddit. I made a post where the faucet is linked, where you get 1,000 DFI just for fun, because testnet. But there you can play around with it and test it out, try it out, see how it works. Check if everything that we say here works. I think we try to make good graphics and explain it with graphics because it's easier to understand. But you can try it out there and see if what we say and what we explain in the graphics really is like that on the testnet. And then you already know and can prepare yourself and your strategy for the upcoming changes. So do that.
Perfect. Cool. Kügi, thank you so much for coming on the second time and setting things straight. Thank you, everyone out there who was watching the second take here. And yeah, sorry for the little hiccup in the last time. A lot of people were like, where's the video? Where's the video private? We didn't want to shock you.
This guy.
It's his fault. And yeah, just watch it live the next time. Then you can be sure, even if you make a mistake, you're not missing it at least. Guys, everybody out there, Kügi, have a great weekend. Enjoy the time with your loved ones and see you in the next time when we say DeFiChain Demystified. Have a nice evening and bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.